Setting up a hypothesis test. Convert each of these claims into a null hypothesis H sub 0 and an alternative hypothesis H sub A or H sub 1 in symbolic form. Be sure to include the correct inequalities and the correct symbol, the population mean mu, the population proportion p, or the population standard deviation sigma for the indicated parameter. Indicate with a claim arrow whether the claim goes with the null hypothesis H sub 0 or the alternative hypothesis H sub A or H sub 1. Write whether the test will be a left, right, or two-tailed test. Our problem reads, the mean annual rainfall for this county is no more than 42 inches. So first of all, we're dealing with the mean. So the population symbol for mean is mu, so we're going to write mu for both the null and the alternative hypothesis. Then it says no more than. We have to go back to our inequality symbols, and no more than will indicate less than or equal to. Remember, the null hypothesis contains the equal to part, so this will be less than or equal to, and then 42 inches. That means our claim goes with our null hypothesis. That means our alternative hypothesis will have to have the opposite inequality symbol. So this is less than or equal to, so this has to be then greater than 42. Remember that alternative hypothesis does not contain equality, and we'll just write greater than. So we've converted these in proper symbolic form. We wrote the correct inequalities. We have the claim arrow, and now we have to determine if it's left, right, or two-tailed test. To determine if it's left, right, or two-tailed test, we have to look at the alternative hypothesis. Since the alternative hypothesis is greater than, we know that this will be a right-tailed test. In our next problem, it says more than 25% of the injuries caused by fireworks occur to hands. So this is talking about a percentage. So our symbol for this one is going to be the population proportion P. Now it also then states more than. More than, remember, has the inequality symbol greater than. The greater than symbol, since it does not have the equality underneath, is going to go with our alternative hypothesis. I'm going to write 0.25 here. So that means our claim goes with our alternative hypothesis. To get our null hypothesis, remember it's going to be the opposite of greater than, so this will be less than or equal to, and we're going to then state 0.25. So now we got to determine whether it's a left tail, right tail, or two-tailed. Since it is going to be greater than, remember, then this one's going to be a right-tailed test. We also then can assume that P sub 0, our population proportion, is going to equal 0.25. We're going to need that later in our calculations. In our last problem, the standard deviation of human body temperatures is equal to 0.62 degrees. So we're testing now a standard deviation, and so we're going to use the population standard deviation formula, sigma, and we're going to use the symbol is equal to. The equal to, remember, goes in the null hypothesis, and so that's going to be 0.62. So that's our claim, in this case, goes with our null hypothesis. Our alternative hypothesis then is the does not equal to symbol, and that indicates if it's not equal to, that it's going to be a two-tailed test. Also, that means we're going to assume that our population standard deviation is going to be equal to 0.62. So you might want to look through the steps for hypothesis testing to get a little bit clarity, also the notes as well.